stringed instrument that looked similar to a lute.
Uh-huh, really? Well, did you see my new lute since you were
Was
here
it
last?
a guitar,
I didn't have this
ukulele,
here
or
last,
whatever?
did I?
Yes, we did.
I think you just picked it up.
I love my ukulele.
Gitalele, that's what it's called.
Yes, see right in the center says ukulele.
Gitalele.
And made by Yamaha. This one is made by Yamaha. And I'm really glad my brother gave me my first guitar when I was, my late brother Scott, when I was 16 years of age. He gave me a little Yamaha.
Did you take lessons or no? Wow.
No, just chord by chord by chord. Just learn a chord here, learn a chord there. Not this. And here we get the totally opposite, right? Sitting across from here with Jacob Craig, because you're like what, a doctorate or something of music.
Working on it, yes, sir.
So do you look with disdain and contempt at people like me that can't read or write music?
Zero.
No, you don't.
Zero. Not at all. It's just a different processing, you know.
Yeah.
The idea of learning music in terms of sight reading is kind of like reading a book, right? You don't have to be able to read a book to be able to understand or comprehend concepts. You know?
Like George Martin. Now, the Beatles, none of the Beatles could read or write music.
Really?
So that's right. And Elton John cannot read or write music. Bob Dylan cannot read or write music. So, but they all surrounded themselves with people like Jacob Craig, like Mr. Martin. He certainly was considered the fifth Beatle.
Right.
Now, this guy could arrange. And so, a matter of fact, we're hopeful maybe we could get them one of these days that, he keeps saying, so I don't know if you're agreeable to this, but Stanford Erickson, former White House correspondent. Let's have a round of applause for Stanford Erickson!
And I'm in the choir that Jacob.
You are?
You get away from
You're in the choir?
That Jacob Craig is the choir director.
Wonderful. Do you know how to read or write music?
Yes.
See that?
Not well though. Jacob is unique.
Oh yeah. That's and you're the other guy. Well, hopefully we'll get together one of these days. Maybe you can do a little arranging. I'm
I'd like
trying
that
to
very
coerce
much.
him. See, if I ask him on the air, then it's obligatory that he respond in a positive nature because he is supposed to be a servant of the people since he is the music director over there at the Presbyterian Church. Dang it, Stanford! What are you doing inviting me on that guy's show now? I gotta arrange and produce his music, make him a star like the Beatles, and he's old and he's bald. How am I gonna do this at this late stage? Although actually, is it not? The internet's changing the whole industry, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Quite a few people aren't even getting their start until their 40s and 50s now.
It's crazy, like. And the internet. The good thing is that it takes the power away from the executives. I was almost signed to Liberty Records 24 years ago now. And this herky-jerky guy, that's his name, Herky. I'm going to go back and punch the guy in the nose maybe someday. I know I have to deal with this. My counselor would say, now. But anyway, I got, because he says, cowboy hats, we're in Nashville. And he says, cowboy hats. We didn't really speak that way. I'm giving him, he really just has a non-memorable voice.
But in your head.
but I'll give him, just for my audience now, I'll give him sort of a nicer or more interesting voice.
Okay.
But he really was nondescript, to say the least. But he said, cowboy hats are on their way out. I said, what about Garth Brooks? He goes, well, he's the last of them.
The last one.
But this is really an executive with Liberty Records.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to fall in disgrace. They better not ever syndicate me. Wait a second. We're on iHeartRadio. We are syndicated.
We are
now.
syndicated.
Did you know we got a call the other day from San Francisco? This
Yes.
is my listeners are probably sick of it. Rhett, you're one caller from San Francisco. This guy. If you're listening, by the way, sir, we've decided we will fly you from San Francisco to Vero Beach, Florida, for a photo session with the mayor of the airwaves.
That works well.
You know, we'll put it right up there in the billboard on Route 60. This guy listens in San Francisco. So if you want to advertise and really get heard around the nation now, well, it is true. See, there again, the internet. Matter of fact, we're on Facebook right now.
Yeah.
There we are. So at this late stage, with the abundance of hair I have in my head, and my loops fading, like remember the what was it, The Wizard of Oz? help me, I'm melting.
Yes.
So we put the camera back here now, so you can't see me. You see, it's you guys. Now, what I can do is I can play modest and go, well, that's because I have humility. So we just show the back of my head. But see the back of the head. That sucker's for sale. We're gonna, I got my Wilbur, the barber in town, right?
Yeah.
So he can
Cut little ads in
Yeah,
your
he
hair.
can put a logo
Yeah.
in there. Yeah, like GE or something.
hair
Absolutely.
brought to you
Ford.
by- The hair brought to you by.
Hair brought to you by. And that's what it's coming to. I think ads will disappear as we know them.
Seems to be. I think wasn't it Coca-Cola last year removed a website, or they did at least for a short time. I'm not sure if they've continued that, but they had said that the most successful advertising was through social media and other outlets. So
Crazy.
they just even removed a website.
It's crazy. I just was this morning. I was looking at an amateur show, and they have a thing down here on Facebook that is sold to a realty company. I'm thinking, we're getting, recently I posted something with Dr. Mal, and we had 58,400 views.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, and I've got people now that are coming up and saying, I don't listen to you anymore, Mr. Palmer. I shouldn't really talk that way because that's not the way they talk, but I do these voices for keeping it interesting. Otherwise, we're just like normal
Keeps
people.
it interesting.
He wants to listen to normal people, right?
This is Mrs. McGill-Connie. Talks her nose a little bit. And she sits in the front row over there at Presbyterian.
Always, same seat.
Just think there's
right.
some lady listening right now, and she happens to be McGillicuddy. I'm calling my attorney. No, but I forgot what I was going to say.
But
now.
she
Anyway,
watches
so-
you on Facebook.
Oh, yes. I'm getting that a lot. People come in and say they don't listen anymore, they watch on Facebook.
Right.
So, we're getting between 90 and 180 people a day, or per half-hour segment, excuse me. Some days have been, up to a couple thousand. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it's growing.
I'm
It's
amazed.
changing everything. You see
Everywhere.
that?
Ever
You look-
since I've been on there.
Says he was looking at me like a frog in the rainstorm. I knew there was some sort of contemplation going on in the back of his head. What can he say?
Well,
Okay, so
Rhett, I want you to know I leave my name tag on, and wherever I go, they say, "Oh, you're with Rhett Palmer."
they
The
hear you
Mayor
on
of the
there, huh?
Airways, yes.
No, we have a distinctive voice. Mm-hmm. You don't sound like this. Thank goodness, I'm
goodness.
glad. I don't think we come around there. Actually, that would be kind of interesting if we took people that have weird voices,
Well, they pay attention, of course.
Jacob Craig right now is going, what am I doing here? I could be home. I could be writing a sonata. Yes, Mr. B he wants to chirp in. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. B. How are you?
Rhett, and I wear my name tag around town, and they say, you're the one that has the squealing mics.
Do they really? No. Oh, see, that's an engineer's joke. Notice nobody else is laughing. You're right back there laughing. Nobody else is laughing. Mr. B, is your mic on? Because, it's supposed to be making it more conducive to laughter. If we hear your laughter, we got to have Jake Craig. He's got a good laugh. He
Yes.
laughs at my stupid stuff. This is good. We got to have him back more often.
I also thought you and he could sing a little duet today, so maybe something.
Lucky Jacob
Why
Craig.
not? Like
Did
amazing, great. You two have beautiful voices. Wouldn't it be nice? He could harmonize with you. He could harmonize with anybody.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, the people there. Now, this is Reverend Rhett. We want you to repent today. We're going to sing a song for you, Amazing Grace. Yes, that disgrace you've been living, the way you've been acting. You're short in traffic, and you're long on keeping anger. So we want you to repent today. Now, this is the Mayor of the Airways. Now, I don't know because is this the regular tuning or is this a different tuning? Because I think they said it was different.
It's a fifth up.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound, that saved a wretch like me. Okay, can we do it in this key? Is this too high?
I'm fine.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
You got a neat little, a little round of applause for Jacob Craig. Hey, he's got a neat little quiver thing in his voice.
Oh,
there.
he can do a lot of things.
Yeah. Reminds me of who's the guy that sings "You Raise Me Up"?
Josh Groban.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to hear a really cool story?
Yes,
so
sir.
David Walsh and I used to bring in Irish singers and groups for March, and what we would do is, this is before 2008, before the economic fall, excuse me, and people were willing to donate abundantly. And we would have these people come in, and we would with all the money that we made, all the profit, which was $8,000-10,000, I forget. It wasn't a whole lot of money, but we would take $500 segments, and teachers locally would write in and write us an essay, and then we would pick who we thought was really the most new, because the average teacher spends $500 to $1,000 a year out of their own bank account, and considering teachers are not the highest paid people on the scale of payments, right, of income. So we decided to give them $500. Of course, $500 was a lot more 10 years ago too. Remember, right? Now they're going $500. No, not per cheap, right? No, but seriously. So what was the point of me telling you this? So anyway, so we brought in this group from Ireland, and the guy's there playing bass. And he says, well, my brother's been writing songs all his life, never wrote anything worth a hoot. And then he wrote a song called You Raise Me Up. And from Ireland, his brother wrote that. Phew. Can you imagine? I mean, just with that one song, you could go like, okay, I've made some sort of a mark on mankind. I can die in peace now. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely so.
Isn't that a great song?
It is.
Yeah. And you kind of have like this. Can you sing that song? A little bit of it?
Oh, like in the style of Josh Groban, we can emulate them. When I
little bit of
am
echo
down and oh my soul so weary. You can just, emulate it.
Keep going, man. This is good.
Let's see, was it? When troubles come and my heart burden be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and spend the while with me. Josh Groban sound,
Yeah,
right?
that's really good. Give him a round of applause, Mr. B. That is
Such a
fantastic.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with
Kinda-
no accompaniment, you can just hit those.
Kind of gives you the
notes.
chills there.
Yeah.
That's good. When you can give another singer the chills, Because we don't like that much. He's okay. But I was here getting the chills. I want to hear him sing the whole thing. You can hear his latest rendition of this on Palmer Records. Get the whole Jacob Craig CD for only $19.95. That's right. 3 easy payments of $7.95 each, and you can have it today. Free shipping and handling. Just call Rhett Palmer and get Jacob Craig's new record.
That's a gift. You have a beautiful gift.
Well, it's fun with voice stuff because, I'm a big believer, and especially when I teach voice lessons, that, the voice is incredibly versatile in terms of an instrument,
Yeah.
So if you look at Bobby McFerrin or, I even use a lot of, like, the ventriloquists out there, like Jeff Dunham and some of those. The idea of what you can actually do inside the mouth to manipulate tones, you can
amazing.
emulate anything. So that's in the style of Josh Groban, which is a certain sound quality. And if you were to do in the style of Frank Sinatra or something else, then it just changes the way your voice is.
There's a black dude out there, and I saw him on, what's the show on PBS, and it has a black male host. He's really good. I watch him all the time. I can't remember him. Talks like this.
Morgan Freeman?
No. There's a black dude on PBS. Has a lot of famous people on there. I know. Why did I bring him up? Because we're talking about this other black guy. Because this other guy, he's also, I think he's been on like some of those other late night shows. I don't realize. See, I'm older now, so I don't stay up that late because otherwise I won't get up in the morning to do the show. But he can play. He can sound like an electric guitar. All these sounds.
That sounds like Bobby McFerrin. You know who Bobby McFerrin
Bobby
is?
McFerrin, he did
Okay.
Don't Worry, Be Happy.
Oh yeah, and his own thing. It's unbelievable. Just the array of sounds possible. So the whole idea used to be that you would come to a certain teacher for lessons because you felt that was the way your voice was made.
Yeah.
If I go for opera lessons, well, it's because I have an operatic quality to my voice.
Yeah.
I think all those qualities of sound are developed, and you can, develop all of them.
What about some people? I would let them know, this is what I tell people. I say, you think that singing is in the throat, but it's not. It's in the ear.
Right, absolutely. The only judgment you have as a vocalist is your ear. That's called audiation.
Some people just can't hear themselves.
Right, and if you don't have an ear for tone, then you're going to have a very difficult
What
time
about
with
these
singing.
people that get on American Idol and go, amazing? I mean, it's been that bad. And they go like, do you not know that do they not know they sound terrible?
Odds are probably not if they're actually singing that way for real. It's
Yeah.
not staged.
No, for real,
you know.
for real.
But if that is sincere, then yes, most likely
Or
it's not an ear.
maybe they hire some goofballs. Say, look,
I'm
how about we'll give you
sure.
$10,000 tonight if you get on national TV, make a fool of yourself.
That seems to be more likely.
You
Where do you sign up? Where do you sign up?
Hey, we got a place for you. Hey, we got to take it. Today's broadcast is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Fort Pierce. Test drive one today and see Mark, the salesman down here. He's terrific.
I want you to know when I was in high school, I'm deaf in my right ear.
Some questions.
And the choir
for
director
Jacob.
said, just mouth it, Beverly. Apparently I was way off key. Just mouth it.
Certainly.
No, I took opera lessons because that's all you took in those days.
Right.
And I could not get up high unless I hit an E. Then I could get this registry,
Yep.
right up here with an E, but no other.
That's right. That's
not
exactly
any
right.
other vowel. Then about 40 years later, I could. 40 years later.
Wow, you finally learned. Do you
this
have
for you?
somebody in town that you know?
Oh, absolutely. So,
Okay.
But if I took more lessons, probably I could. But
You know, it's possible if you had taken more lessons, yeah.
well, I just figured I'm not going to be an opera singer. I don't want to be an opera singer.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
Well, every opera singer I met was about 6'2",
Thank you.
300 pounds.
You never may
Well, they
say
had
that.
to have this girt,
Yeah.
the
Well,
That's
I
right.
wonder if that's a fallacy.
well, they all look like that. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Whether it's a fallacy, Jacob would know, but you have to have that the lung capacity to
Oh,
make
yeah.
that, right?
the whole purpose of opera is amplification.
Yeah.
So if you're an opera singer, that means you should be able to physically amplify your voice to its maximum ability.
Yeah.
Steve Green. Let's see. You know Steve Green, the singer?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I'm thinking of a very famous song I used to sing in your head where I went really high. I can't
grew
get
up
that other
listening to
song
him.
with that other guy in my head. Okay. Upon the turtle throat. Then. God and God alone is fit to take the universe's throne. Through the mighty of them, from the mighty to the small, the glory of them all is God's and God's alone. God and God alone is fit to take the universe's throne. I used to sing that in churches.
Excellent.
Really?
Yeah. And really hit the high note then, but I haven't sang in a long time, so let's see if I can do God and God alone. Trying to impress him to say this, but he'll go, well. You wonder with a guy like that. See, you can fake it with normal people, but he might be saying, well, you can tell that guy ain't got no, this is the way he talks. I actually did that to Barbara one day. I was on the phone, I said, well, Barbara said this to me. Well, you got him. And somebody said, is that the way Barbara talks? I went, oh, I realized these voices I come up with people,
You better be careful.
Wait till I see how you sound when you leave. She listens in Vermont, though.
Yes.
Yeah, she listens on iHeartRadio.
Yeah, leaving.
God and God alone is fit to take the universe's throne. From the mighty to the small, the glory in them all is God's and God's alone. God and God alone. Did you ever sing that one?
No, actually, I don't know that one.
Yeah, no.
I did grow up listening to him, though.
I recorded at Gaither Studio. I guess I probably told you that.
Very nice.
Now, Rhett is lucky that he can remember the lyrics of a lot of songs. It's a great skill.
He probably can too. It is amazing. What amazes me is there's a new pop song. Oh, no, this guy, some local, some national guy. Was that the Cars? It sounded like that was the Cars. That's like I just never liked the Cars. Do you like the Cars? It seemed like it was just studio made music. Like there was nothing real about it. You know, everything was
Cars.
But she gets up in the morning and she does. I don't know, the Cars. You never heard of the Cars. That's
No.
good. Maybe it's a good thing. We have kept you sheltered, my son.
That's right.
70s or 80s? I don't know. One of those.
No, when I used to sing solos and things like that, I'd forget the words about the third time because I'm so creative. I get bored.
We didn't know
singing
that
the
you
same
sang
song.
solos.
I just get bored, and all of a sudden the words go away because the subconscious says, "We're through with that.
Certainly.
It's over." No, it's absolutely true.
You know,
But
trust-
Sinatra said that about that's where you doobie doobie doo. He said I hated that song, so I forgot the words.
So I'm gonna scat.
Doobie doobie doo, doo doo. That's I don't explain that. But
Yep.
if you're very creative, sometimes I give speeches. I can't give the same speech 3 times. I get bored halfway through the speech.
That's like teaching a class and you
No,
have 3
that's the
different
Wild
classes.
Wild West by the
You're afraid.
Escape
Did you
Club.
say that before?
That's the
Yeah.
name.
I can't do that. I get bored.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
get bored with me. You know,
What does Nancy say?
she gets bored with me too.
You can keep that and you'll have an
Oh, thank
extra
you.
picture. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a lot of those.
Well, when I come back from Vermont, I'm going to your church.
Oh, that's great.
I do church shopping. I hate to
Yes,
put it
ma'am.
that way, but
Well, let us know
I want to-
when you're over there.
Yeah, let us know when you're
everybody
coming.
tells me your minister is great,
He is.
He is excellent.
and that's a secret to a good church.
He has a good heart. He has a good heart.
Does he? Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I'll be
His
back.
wife is even better. Spectacular wife.
Really?
Difficult to be a minister's wife. Just difficult, and she's just wonderful.
Uh-huh.
She does it better than anybody I've ever met.
She's good at preaching sermon.
No, but just knowing her role.
Who?
Dr. Tim Womack's wife, Stephanie, is spectacular. A minister's wife is the most difficult role. It's like being vice president of the United States.
It's got to be.
Yeah. When do you stick out? When do you don't? When
Yeah.
president's always more important.
But she does the right thing. Huh?
She does it. She's spectacular. I've never seen anyone quite as good as she as a minister's wife.
Mm-hmm.
She's in the choir, but she doesn't try and be important. You know, she's just a member of the choir,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But
and
you-
she has strong music background.
Mm-hmm. So she's an asset to him.
Oh,
Makes his life easier.
I'm certain when he was young, without her, he would not have been such a good minister.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
We're getting shrilly feedback. How can we do that when that's not even live? Why are we getting shrilly feedback in the headset over here? It's gone now, I think. Bizarre. Are you really good with electronics? No.
Are you going to perform somewhere, Jacob?
Like soon?
Yeah.
Not anything that's really public.
Okay.
Nothing on the books for the next couple months.
Yes, right here in the studio. If you
Right
want.
here.
You better practice that. You raise me up.
We can promote it, that's all. Sinatra said he never wanted to learn music because he thought it inhibited him from being creative. He said, "I don't want to read the music. I don't, you know what I mean?" He said, "I don't want that structure." He says it, and Bing Crosby said the same thing. I mean, these had intellects; they could learn whatever they wanted. These are bright people, but they fought against it because they wanted to let the mood determine what they were going to
From
sing.
the heart. Mm-hmm.
Well, they,
Openers next. Stand by in the studio.
and I can relate to that to some degree because I'm so creative that Structure bothers me at times
Oh,
in poetry.
okay.
I can write sonnets the way you're supposed to do it, but
So that's why you understand Rhett so well.
I can't. Being spontaneous is very important to you.
Yeah, but I mean, he is very creative.
Yes, very creative, and he needs to be spontaneous. He thinks it's being honest, but you can be honest within structure. You know,
Yes.
the best people are. They can be creative within structure. Bach was very creative, a lot of structure.
Yes, Alvin has just texted me, who's listening. Let's make it a gospel hour. Hallelujah. It's the gospel hour. Reverend Palmer's here. How you doing? It's time for you to repent from those things. There's a guy like this. I met him actually years ago at Word of Life Camp in upstate New York. He would come and he would preach to the kids. Obviously, he was not a New Yorker. But anyway, so he was, oh gosh. What's his name? Right on the tip of my tongue. But this old-time preacher. And now, I mean, after I met him years ago in my childhood, he died. McGee. McGee.
Yeah, great minister. I've read all his books.
And now, Walter McGee or something like that.
Wilbur McGee.
So yeah, I
I've
met him.
I've read all his books.
Well, and you still, if you're driving around the United States, what used to be, things of course are changing now with satellite radio, but you're driving around and you're out in Wisconsin. There's favorite guy. Now I want to tell you to repent,
Yes.
because it says in
was-
Luke
it was-
14:15.
He was born in Texas, and I've read all his commentaries. He's an absolutely brilliant man.
Yeah, they still play his recordings.
Yes.
See, now that's the dangerous thing. See, people don't realize. Someday they will say, I was alive when Rhett was doing those live. Now they've been picked up, and now he's an American treasure. Hey, I might as well enjoy my life,
absolutely.
Fantasize, Well, it's kind of, we don't realize the indelible mark we are making, because the Bible says that one day the walls shall give forth the information. And remember, this is written thousands of years ago. Now, we now have a piece of plastic that we can put into a little hole, and we can listen to the deceased Elvis Presley sing as if he's alive this moment. Now they're saying these very walls, when we go on break, remember this, these very walls are actually recording everything we say. They just haven't figured out the equipment yet, how to suck it out of the wall, but they will. Think about it. Think about what Edison did.
I know.
Records. This makes no sense. Look.
That's true.
Look at this. Look at this iPhone. It used to be that it cost me. I remember. Well, in the good old days. This actually was the modern days, but it's kind of. I would call my grandmother on the phone. It was $3 a minute. And I remember going down to Key West one time. I'm going to call my grandma in upstate New York, Poughkeepsie. And it's $3 a minute, 10 minutes. It means $30. And $30 30 years ago was a lot more. And so I said, you know what, Rhett? Someday you won't be able to. And I called my grandma, Mary Delancey, and guess what? I can't call her today, and I'm glad I did when I could. But anyway, that's just a little emotional story there. But anyway, the point being, now I can pick up this iPhone, and I can make a phone ring in Russia.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we should do that. Let's call somebody. Hey, cosmonaut. That's the only thing I know in Russian. Right? Hello, Oh, spasiba. Spasiba, cosmonaut.
Rhett, since we have a PhD here, candidate.
Yes, we should act more refined.
Well, no, but why are there trends in music? What determines a trend in music? What kind of trend do we have now? In terms of he knows the history of music. So what is this kind of trend?
If he says it's right, he's got a job at Rolling Stone.
Oh, I know, right? Well, most trends in music are determined by technology, right? Mm-hmm. And so if we go way back to Renaissance, right, and when everything was, the Renaissance was obviously just an incredible period of invention and innovation, and so they came up with a lot of instruments during that period. They refined them a little bit, so by the time we have what's called the Baroque period of music, was when these instruments were refined enough, so all of a sudden we had technology like violins, viola, strings, harpsichords, those kind of things. And so because those instruments technologically were able to be made, people would write for them. And then you go into like the classical and then into the Romantic period, and they invented cast iron. And cast iron enabled the harpsichord to go into the grand piano because of the tension issue. You know, the harpsichord only had 40-something notes, give or take, because you couldn't go higher or lower because of the amount of tension on the board. It would break it. So they only had the amount of notes that they could actually technologically hold in place. So when they had the cast iron invention, they put that into the belly of the instrument, and all of a sudden you can have as much tension as you want and create the 88 keys that we have today.
Amazing.
And so then obviously we get into our current trends, and with the utilization of
So hold on.
electricity.
So you're saying there was a time when they went that if you know what a harpsichord sounds like, it's
Right.
like ding 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 ding. It's like a piano right on steroids or something. I don't know.
Right.
And it's like so. In other words, like when you brought that into the house and invited some people over, the local, hey, the prince and the queen are coming tonight, and they go. I mean, they must have went, wow. I mean, can you imagine the first time you're hearing a harpsichord?
Absolutely
Ding,
so.
ding, ding, ding. That's like so modern and cool, man.
That's
I'm
right.
thinking about it,
Because at the time, that was the most innovative technological thing that existed. And now, of course, for us, with the utilization of electricity first, with then, like the tubes and everything and amplifiers and all that kind of stuff, electric guitars. And now we get into the digital age where you're able to sample and synthesize music.
It's crazy.
It is. It's kind of now the trend is whatever you can create in terms of sound. Everything right now is about a fusion of sound creation. Where can I create this new sound that is yet to be heard? It's not new music because for a Western, we still are based on what's called an equitempered diatonic scale, which
Hold on,
simply...
can you repeat that there now?
I sure will.
Repeat that 5 times.
Equitemperament.
Equitemperament.
Equitemperament was developed in the Baroque
I
period.
want you to write that down so I can sound really intelligent
I can
next time you
definitely
come
do
on.
that, sure.
Right?
Some
Well, let's
talking
get back to
points.
talking about the
Equitemperament, which we know as half steps, which is simply the scale, C to C, right? We have 7 notes in our major scale. It's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it repeats, right? And then
Yeah.
you have some half steps. So we still don't deviate from that even in modern music, because in the Western side of the world here, that's still our type of cultural music versus the vocabulary of music where it's not an equitempered system in Asia and in India. They have quarter tone systems, which is literally twice as many notes at their disposal that we have. And so while we're playing with sounds and technology, there's currently not any new breakthroughs in terms of music and writing, because we're still only cultural. And that's where, if there's something that's new ground in music, it's going to be physiologically researched out as to why these tones make us feel what we feel. Because 440 sound waves per second is what we know as an A. So why does that make us feel that versus 482 versus 560,
Yeah.
etc.?
and we have a difference. There's difference between what's created in England that's created in the USA, right?
Absolutely. And that's every culture. Every culture has its own particular sound.
Bet you didn't know that.
And so you
Aren't
kind
you
of,
glad you asked him this question?
that's right.
Stanford's going over there. I hope they don't ask me to reflect on what he's saying here because he left me behind at the word "well," Stanford.
The question I have on that is, since in India, since they have these quarter, and they have twice as many notes, does that mean they're more profound in terms of not just music, but in terms of how their mind works?
Is that true?
The
Yeah.
sensitivity.
Is that
There's a
indicative of
spiritual
yeah?
quality. There's a
Like
profound.
listen to the sitar.
Yes.
You look at that sitar and go, how the heck did Ravi Shankar ever pick up that thing? It's the weirdest thing in the universe.
It is. It's bizarre. Technically, the answer to that is no. Because while they do have those notes, the way they utilize them, it's still what we know to be kind of what's quote-unquote a primitive form of music.
Yeah.
There's still a very rigid structure with a lot of how Eastern music is written. And so instead of kind of exploring all the sonorities possible, they stay within a very confined realm of writing on purpose, which is kind of that cultural identity for that style of music. And so
Primitive, that's what they call my music.
primitive, yeah, and not in a
Like
negative
Grandma
context.
Moses, you know?
Yeah, that's
Well,
right.
see, this stuff is kind of like, okay, what can we call it? So we don't disgrace her. We'll
That's
call it
right.
primitive. Next thing you know, she didn't start painting until she was 78. She becomes world famous.
That's
on the cover of the New York Times. Primitive. Oh, yeah, okay.
And primitive not in terms of a negative context, but in terms of unchanged. Since the thousands of years they have documented music in India, it has changed almost none, very little.
Really.
Well, I love sitar music, though. Sitar music.
Absolutely. so.
I love sitar music.
It's
like
an awesome
what are those
sound.
drums they play?
Yeah, it's called the rabla, and the tala. Yes.
Now I'm going to play the drum. I'm going to make the noise of the drum, and you're going to be the sitar. Can you? Okay, ready? I'll go.
And that's where the whole
Come on,
point
really.
is.
Come
Where
on, try this. Come on, I want you to try it.
What, am I supposed to sound like a sitar?
You got to make up a melody, and I'll do the drums. Like, unless you want to be the drums. You want to be the drums?
Sure.
Okay, you be the drum.
Okay. I think Liberty Records is dying to call you again.
Some guy out there at 7-Eleven's going, I want my big gulp. I don't think I have enough coffee this morning. Bring him over. Hey, Mr. Patel, would you please bring Mr. Palmer some coffee? Bring him a big gulp, because something is very wrong with my radio this morning.
We can't get Jacob Craig back
Oh,
again. You
man.
know this. It's over.
Well, Merry Heart maketh good like medicine.
Yeah.
That's actually scripture, that,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Isn't that good? Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's kind of the new ground is that zero been touched is, because you can, like the Rabba and the Tala, right, for Indian music, the drum things.
I love it.
Those are all, it sounds random to us, but those are very, very set patterns. Most of those drummers learn anywhere between 28 to 102 beats that are followed in a very strict pattern. There's no improvisation almost.
Really?
Yeah, they actually learned each one of those movements in a systemized order. And so it sounds, that's the whole point, is that sounds random to us because we are Western. For them, it's very rigid, very structured. And so that's kind of the new ground we're getting into.
No, I can't get my tambourine to sound that way.
No, certainly not.
Somebody took my
I remember the Bee Gees, the blonde guy, this fantastic guy, and he said, I got the music, I was driving over the bridge between Georgia and things.
No.
Remember?
The drummer was right on my show.
Oh.
He was with them the day they were in Miami going over the bridge.
Yes.
And he said, talking.
As the car was hitting the ridges.
That's a true story, and
Awesome.
they got into the studio that day and recorded it. They were all just
Wow.
kidding around in the car.
Yes.
That's where
and
you
the,
gotta
and
catch
the
those
car
moments.
was going boom, bop, boom, bop,
Yeah.
boom, bop, and
Over
goes,
the bridge.
I got the rhythm.
You can hear it. I
Awesome.
mean, we've all done it. But yeah, the drummer was right in here. I can't believe it. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, even that groove we consider to be grooves are in the pocket these days with music, right?
Yeah.
That comes from a Renaissance term called tactus. And tactus was the idea that every bit of music is felt in the heart. And so all of music in the Renaissance was performed at either 60 or 120 beats a minute because that's a resting heart
Now, what do
rate.
you think of Yoko Ono, though?
Well,
I mean,
that's actually the entire point of what's left in music is that
Wow.
that sounds foreign to us and it
Yeah.
does not have an effect upon us because it's not cultural.
Well, I don't like it.
So
Why
in
did John,
Eastern
what did John
Asia-
Lennon? I don't understand. I mean, Yoko, if you're living down in Florida now, you're listening to me. I love John Lennon. We love you. Peace and love and all that stuff. But I'm sorry, I just never could get into your Primal Scream stuff. Do you know what I'm talking about? You're a young guy. Do you know
Yes,
about this Primal? Okay,
I do.
yeah,
I do.
yeah.
Which is the point. If you listen to any Eastern Asian music and their instruments and their way of singing, and even like Tibetan throat singing and all that kind of stuff, it's so foreign to
Wait,
us.
Tibetan throat singing.
Yes,
Can
that's.
you do it?
I cannot. It's a
What does it
certain.
sound like?
It's a technology. It's not technology. Excuse me. It's a technical way that they've learned to manipulate the sound in their throats. That they have their own overtone series, So instead of, and the only thing I can do is do one that's like a whistle, where you hum and whistle at the same time. It's like them.
I do that. No, I do that.
That kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously. So I came up with something like the Tibetans.
Yes, you sure did.
No, I don't. Really, inadvertently.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm a subconscious genius. or
Maybe
something.
you are. Maybe you
No,
are.
shit, listen to this. I go, oh, little sparrow, the path is narrow that leads to him. Oh, little sparrow, the path is narrow that leads to peace within. I think I did it with more of a whistle. Let's see if I can whistle in the morning.
That's exactly right. So take that same sound and then just do it with your throat while singing, and that's what they do.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. It's stunning. Now, of course, that's cool for us to listen to, but it has no conceptual effect on us if we listen to it. It's not like it's one of those things where all of a sudden we're feeling and we're emoting to this music. It's just kind of a cool educational thing. And that's where, all they're doing is singing tones. They're singing tones that we can document by hertz, no problem. And yet in context, it means something completely different. So that's kind of the new ground in music we're heading towards.
Of course, today we're talking about music. It's almost like singing about ballet. You know what I'm saying?
That's good. I like that.
Maybe you could. This is what I'm hopeful that maybe you and I you could help me record some of these songs like Little Sparrow. I'd like to. But the only thing is, for all the years I recorded, I feel as though my stuff was overproduced. Like the other day, might have been yesterday, there was a group in here, and it was. What day is today? Okay, this is what. Okay, it was Monday. It was Memorial Day. We came in live for Memorial Day. While you were all sleeping in late, we were working. Anyway, so I sang a song that I wrote when I was younger. Goes, I was just a common boy in upstate New York town, free to dream a dream and kicking my heels around. Shining shoes on Saturday. Mr. B, find the recording, all right. In the land of the free, yeah. This is America, love, land of liberty. Anyway, it sounded better. I had the steel string guitar. But then Mr. B played, of course, My American Song off of my CD. Do you happen to have that handy, Mr. B? That's why I asked for it in the middle of the song. Don't roll your eyes back like that. I'll tell your wife on you. Mrs. B! What? What's that? 5?
It's called Two Hands.
2 hands. He's only got 2 hands. He's a 2-handed man. He can if the things can. Oh, it's tenderly. I'm gonna call Mrs. B. You're gonna be in trouble, you'll see. When Mr. Palmer asks for a song, you gotta find it in a hurry. No, but anyway, the point is, though,
Now what's the song?
My American Song. You should familiarize yourself with my songs, you know.
Entire body of work.
26 on this CD. I gotta find it.
No, there's not. No. This is why they have a thing in this industry called show prep, Rhett. Okay, poor Mr. B. Find it right now. Come on now.
But Jacob was talking about theory of music, and he said that music is perception, emotion, conception. And
Hold on, say that again.
Yes.
Perception.
emotion, conception. And I said in my mind, every woman I've ever met is perception, emotion, conception. Men are perception, conception, emotion. But women are perception,
Well,
emotion,
actually, I
conception.
don't know, because a man has perception and goes, and then he has emotion, and then the two of them together have conception.
That's probably more intelligent. That's a better theory.
Okay, put on your headset
Very
and hear
good.
this song, okay?
I don't have anything in mind.
No, the headsets aren't turned on. The headsets aren't turned on. Headsets just aren't for now. Ours aren't.
Nothing on.
Anyway, oh, there's nothing on there. He doesn't have anything. He doesn't have anything on his headset.
No, that's
He
okay.
can't. Is it plugged in?
Because they're all turned down.
Well, please put on Mr. Craig's headset so we can listen to this song,
There it is.
Mr. B. Is it on now? Okay.
Oh,
And we've got a break coming up, and that's when I'm going.
Okay.
Nice.
Now, okay, but that's over the top production.
Yes.
What I want to do is, I think it's hard to find a producer or an arranger. Can you kill the music, please? Go ahead and kill the music, right? So anyway, but I want to do this like, oh little sparrow, the path is narrow that leads to him. Listen, do you have satellite radio?
I do, actually.
Okay, because studies show that people will not come back from satellite radio to local territorial music stations, but they will come back for local talk and news. But anyway, I've been listening to the Coffee House station, and I like the simplicity of just
Singer-songwriter
acoustic,
thing. Mhm.
acoustic stuff. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with Jacob Craig. Keep it right here.
This is Tim Wellman.
Jacob has to go. We got
Oh, you do?
3 other people.
Jacob, you have to hold on. I want him to hear my song before you open that door and let all the monsters in here. Okay, it goes like this. Oh, little sparrow, the path is narrow that leads to him. Oh, little sparrow, the path is narrow that leads to peace within. No.
Hi, Dr. Tim.
Anyway, well, we'll do it.
Well, that's-
sometime. But anyway.
I'd like that very much.
Well, that's James Taylor. That's why he was so good, because it wasn't overproduced. You know.
Well, he had his own style too.
But
He
it
did.
wasn't overproduced.
He did.
But let's, if we can, every Wednesday morning, let's between.
Well, maybe he doesn't want to do that. Do you mind coming in, Greg? James, man with 2 first names?
That's exactly right. I can do occasionally, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's one
We'll
of
have
your
some fun.
one of your guests. Okay.
So, anyway, thanks
Thank
for
you, sir.
coming
Really
in.
appreciate it.
We give
Why do you only bring him in for an hour, though? We could go rattle like this for
Well,
a
so
couple
far
hours.
I've had other things I got to do. I got to go do a funeral right now.
Oh, you don't.
He has a job, real job, as
Real-
opposed
a
to
real job.
we.
Now you know what's going to happen now.
Shame.
Somebody's going
Thank you, man.
excuse me.
No, don't do
Somebody's going to be at the funeral this morning. They're going to have heard this show, and they're going to be going, "I was hearing him laughing on the radio."
That's exactly right.
Now you got to
Jacob,
put on
this
the.
is something you should be afraid of. He was
sir.
former
I would do that, but I have a
former
pencil. How are you?
deputy
sir.
director of the CIA. So be
I heard you talking, and I have the slightest idea what you were saying. I need a translator. What I know about music, you can
You
write
like
on
that seat, don't you?
a 3x5
Thanks,
card.
See you, sir.
Jacob, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rhett.
Good to
See you
see you.
tonight.
Yes, sir.
How are
Do
you?
we have a studio where we can record locally?
Not in town, Fort Pierce.
Really? There's a good one?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Did Bob Edsmitzer show up?
There's the famous
You
Mr.
have-
P. Aren't you the guy that Rhett Palmer picks on the radio?
Yep. You have Paul Janis's column there
I see
before
it.
the TC prints it tomorrow. So
Well,
there you
look
go.
at that.
So you got it first.
Who told you that?
What's his name?
Another silly column.
Gotta get your friend in.
Stanford told me that's his column for tomorrow's
Where's
paper.
this man?
Tomorrow's call.
He's coming in.
Okay, good.
He's coming in.
Right over here. Sit over here. Okay.
Right.
This is Bob
There you are.
Edminster. He is a PhD.
When you speak right
Okay,
into that.
Beverly, you're blocking him to come in. He's pushing his chair back here. He won't be able to be seen. So stand there. Now move the chair back this way. I'm sorry that you felt that way. I want you to be able to be seen on video.
He is a PhD economist. He was a dean of the school in economics. He also worked for the federal government to control currency. He can talk about where the economy's going and are we going to have a recession next year? Most people think we are. He can talk about Trump's tour of in Saudi and all that.
Remember last week we were talking about Lee, Dr. Lee?
Yes, Burton Lee.
I have to tell you, well, I can do this on air if you want.
Yes.
I got a call at home
Yeah.
from Ann Lee.
Yeah.
And she said, someone just called me and said, that you were talking about me, you and Rhett Palmer on the Rhett Palmer show, and Rhett was talking about Doctor, my husband, and I said yes, we were, and I said there's a song written about her. Do you know that?
Oh, well, tell it on the air.
Okay,
Tell that the whole story on the air.
because
Remember
you can play that song.
What song is it?
Mary Ann sits in sifting sand. It's a Bahamian Mary Ann.
That song's famous.
I have the words.
That was written for her?
That was written about her when she was a child in the Bahamas.
Oh, come on.
No, it is true.
Oh, that's
I forgot
great.
she is from the Bahamas. I remember them telling me that. Did you know Dr. Burt Lee? He was the former White House. Well, we should be telling this on the air. He's the former White House physician for George Bush,
Right.
I didn't know that.
Senior.
I have questions.
And they live
for-
in town, but he just died recently. He was a good man, oncologist.
I have questions.
And there's the words if you don't remember them.
Okay. Oh, you have the words. Yeah, but I don't know how it goes.
Mary Ann, Mary Ann
Sift in
sits in
sand.
sand.
What's the
Mary
next
Ann-
verse?
I'm terrible at Mary Ann sits in sand, sifting sand.
So it's a lilting sort of song. You have to hear it.
It's Bahamian, kind of. How would you do that? I don't have a tone for.
It's
a voice.
like the
You could sing it, probably.
yeah, but I'm
Mary
trying to-
Ann, Mary
It
Ann.
was
I can find it on my.
that's close to
See, we could get it here.
Yeah,
Let's go on YouTube. Marianne, hold on. Is it? What's the name of the song?
Oh, that's
Mary Ann sifting sand.
Marianne Sifting Sand.
Mary, 2 words. Mary Ann sifting sand.
Okay, let's go to YouTube. Hold on. See if this will work. Marianne
Isn't
Sifting
that
Sand.
great though that they that someone called like that?
I didn't know
actually
anybody
listen.
listened to the program.
amazing. That is an old and
And
popular
I
little
know.
song. They played that in the 50s all the time.
Yeah, it was about her.
Marianne Sifting Sand. Here we go.
I didn't ask her to
Here's
listen.
the original. Hold on.
That's it.
Oh, you're kidding. That was written about her?
That's
a classic.
All day, all night, Mary.
When she was a little girl.
Okay, we'll play it on the air.
Oh, that's great.
Wow.
Anyway, I thought you.
That was
All
a-
day, all night, Marianne. Hold on.
It's insane.
Do you
Let's
have
see.
her phone number so she can listen?
I don't.
Be nice to let her hear it.
Take that white, please.
Take it away.
Take it away. Oh, I thought it had the lyrics.
You know.
All day, all night, Marianne. I gotta get the. Okay, we need the lyrics. in
There's the lyrics right there. That's the
We
first.
gotta find the right. All day, all night, Marianne. I'm gonna learn this sucker, man. Now I knew her all these years, and she never told me that.
I think she's always. Bert used to tell people, but I don't think whether she was embarrassed by it, she just didn't want to say. She's a very mild-mannered lady. She's a very sweet lady. But it was done when she was sitting in sand. She was sifting sand. So it's when she was a little girl in the Bahamas.
She's modest.
Yeah, she's
M-O-D-E-S-T. Modest.
unlike us.
O-D-E-S-T, modest, it's true. And D-O-M-A-S-T, not like you.
Anyway, I thought you'd appreciate that.
You remember Billy Graham said if you have to ask about humility, you probably don't have it.
I was interviewing Billy Graham, and I broached the subject of humility, and he said, "Well," he leaned in and goes, "Well, Rhett, if we're talking about it, we haven't got it."
That's exactly right.
That's a good one.
What are you doing in there, Mr. B? You
I'm
came in
just
for-
seeing if the microphones
You came
are
in
in
to
the
visit?
proper position, and I came to
Who's
visit.
this?
All right.
I was super. You know,
I couldn't resist doing this because
No,
I
this
knew
is,
he'd
it's
love it.
wonderful that you're doing it. But you read Paul's column,
Yeah.
and
So
he
it's
could
so
write
goddamn
about.
predictable.
I know he is so predictable.
Excuse my language.
I said, he never.
What's it?
He doesn't write about Don Lemon. He doesn't write. He's never critical of anybody left of center ever. And they can be just as bad as Hannity. But never. And I say that to him. He says, "Oh no, I'm fair and I'm objective." I said, "No, you're selective in what you're objective about."
Absolutely. We've talked about that so many times.
But he doesn't believe it.
Yeah. You can be very, he could, I mean, he's right about Hannity.
Of course he is, but he could write about.
So what?
So what?
He left this on.
Yeah, that's right.
You want me to leave it on?
Yeah,
They're playing
He'll
another
do it
song.
again.
I wouldn't touch it.
Okay.
No, that you're doing
I'm a
that.
reformer.
No, Rhett loves things like that. Rhett loves spontaneity, and that's
Sure.
spontaneous.
That'll be fun. And you guys.
And Stanford Erickson, former White House correspondent and author, is in the studio this morning. How are you,
Good
Stanford?
morning. Always nice to be with you.
And he's brought some of his friends in here for show and tell.
Yes,
Who
brilliant
have you
people.
brought in here today?
Well, they can introduce themselves.
Okay.
Richard?
Dick Kerr,
Dick.
I've been here before. We've talked in the morning. I've always enjoyed it. Former deputy director of the Central Intelligence Agency and kind of miscellaneous.
All right. And we over here have Bob.
Good morning,
Nice
Bob
to meet you,
Edmister.
Bob. How you doing? I don't know if I shook your
Pleasure
hand
to
yet.
meet you. It's our first time.
Where are you from, Bob?
I am from Ohio,
Oh.
and that's where I got my PhD, was in Ohio. And I'm pretty much a finance guy.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to kill the headsets. Is what you need to do. You're controlling them in there, Mr. B. I'm sorry, Bob. Okay, go ahead, Bob. You're what did you do?
I've been in finance my entire life.
You look like the kind of guy. He looks like CEO. You were your CEO. What were you?
Well, I was a dean of College of Business.
Oh, really? Oh, can we go back in time and we could retrain this whole thing? And cause that's what I would do if I could go back to school. I'd like to get stuff.
I could never get out of school. I was always in school in one way or another.
Yeah. Well, what a fun life.
It's been great. Truly an adventure. And I spent time working for the FDIC in Washington.
And what's the FDIC stand for?
Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation.
Okay.
They're the ones that insure your deposits at the banks.
Uh-huh.
And then the other banking agency there is in Treasury, and they're called the Controller of the Currency, a little-known agency that controls all the big banks.
Wow. I just drove by that building in Washington there when I was taking one of those bus cruises on top of the bus. First time I was ever on top of a bus. You ever take those bus tours?
You mean the hop-on, hop-off is now in Washington?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
I was there. I just took a tour of the White House recently. You've had an exciting life, though.
Oh, it's been great.
Let me ask you this. As a dean, I've often thought this. I like to go to college towns. As a matter of fact, a couple of years ago, Mr. Mott, I think, he either wanted it or he got in the way of it. I can't forget, as we get older, but they wanted to bring a university to Vero Beach. And somebody contested it, which really upsets me. The what do you call those city, not the city managers, those commissioners.
Yeah.
I mean,
County commissioners.
the goofballs in there, So they I like a university town. And you've heard of the quantum leap, of course, the theory of the quantum leap, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we influence each other in ways we don't know. Whenever I go into a university town, I don't have to say anything to anybody, but show me the local bookstore or the college bookstore and show me the coffee shop. And I can just sit there and you can feel the intellect, the young dreams, the fragrance of young dreams in the air. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know exactly. I was at Ole Miss for a long time when John Grisham was there.
No.
Yep.
You knew him?
Well, not exactly, but
Were
we
you
shared
the
the
dean?
same housekeeper.
Oh, you did? Now, was he a student and you were the dean, or?
No, John was a young state representative, and he had a lot of free time while I was down in the Capitol, so he would sit up in the balcony and write, and that's where he wrote his books.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And as a college town, it really stimulates us. I can't tell you how many great authors lived in a 10,000 person town. But it's also William Faulkner's hometown.
Now, see, isn't it weird how that happens?
It's amazing.
Like Muscle Shoals, Alabama, with all these stars. It's a little teeny tiny town. All these musical stars. Why? They said, was it
Boston? They have many, many fine universities. And where did GE decide to those in?
hitchhiked up to Boston from New York and Albany or wherever it was, Poughkeepsie, and I got inducted into Transcendental Meditation. Well, that was a different town. That was in the hippy dippy. Kind of a great innovative idea. I don't know if you recall that or not, but up near at the bottom of the hill, what's the famous hill there? Starts with a C.
Beaker. Oh.
Yeah, Beekman, but no, it's Cambridge. No.
Well,
Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Beaker's Hill.
But anyway, so go back to Boston a couple of CDs. Yeah, you. Dick Kerr is in here, by the way. Former saw that movie.
Yeah, great.
Isn't actually a documentary? I love documentaries too. Isn't it great that genre has come? Every night I'm watching documentaries. It's crazy out there. I love it. But they made a movie on Adams, second president of the United States. But what they were able to do is, in a 2-hour movie, you can't really build characters. So this is like, I don't know, it goes on like 2 hours each night for 6 nights. Whether you can buy I've given away a couple of sets already. I love the movie so much. But they were able to build the fact that Abigail, his wife, had an influence on the foundation of our country.
And on him, tremendous.
Yes, and so they got to build that, and she gets the credit maybe that's due her.
He was kind of a dour old guy.
Yeah. And you are wealthy, say.
You think they weren't offered those things?
And
of course they were.
Nice to your A students because they will be your teachers and your professors. But be nicer to your C students because they're the ones that are going to write the check.
Absolutely.
It's a fact. It's statistically a fact. Is it not, Dean?
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I'm watching this movie and my hot tears are going down my face because the courage that I'm sure that I lacked that what's the word I'm looking for? Just magnanimity?
Magnanimity.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, of the character. So I said, I've got to go to that room. I swear to God, this is a true story. We flew up within 30 days I've got to be there. We flew up, and I got to one of the ranges a couple of years ago. I flew up into Philadelphia and went there, and I actually did an interview with the ranger right there. I got there before I was allowed to go before the people. A small room, and I was right in that room. I don't even know if I feel like worthy to have been in that room, you know? I mean, these are men of phenomenal courage.
Well, and I used to go to Washington every year and go to the Federal Reserve and meet in the same room where the Federal Reserve Committee meets every 6 weeks. And you can just feel the magnitude of the responsibility when you sit in the same chair that Chairman Yellen sits.
I got to sit where the Supreme Court sits. You know where they go, all rise for the President for the State of the Union. So I got privy to go in there with a private tour with some people. Anyway, the other day, so I said I want to sit where the Supreme Court sits. You know, my dad had been an attorney, so he died when I was young. I probably would have been an attorney had he lived. But anyway, so it was really. But the only thing is about the room when you go and you go. It's like that song, "Is this all there is, my friend?" It's a little room. I thought, and TV, it looks huge, and the president takes his time strolling in. I thought it was like, it's a little room. It's not really that big, you know. But I will say this: going to Washington is so cool. You're in the Capitol, right? And you, of course, Dick, he's been privy with the president. He's been in the Oval Office a gazillion times.
But not a gazillion times.
Well, I can
several times.
But you guys, here I am talking.
Did you do something wrong?
I'm like a little kid. I'm like a little kid.
I did something right.
Yeah. Yes, Deputy Director. Don't say anything out of line, Bob, because he might have to shoot you.
No, he has other people shoot you.
So
my people will meet with your people. You know.
But you know what's really cool, and you were a White House correspondent. What's really cool there now, not for you guys, but you're looking at a new eyes here. Is that went there when I was a kid, in 6th grade. I went there a couple of years ago as an adult. I don't know what happened this time, but my eyes were just, and I'm walking through this thing going, I can understand the addiction. I could understand now if I was a wealthy man, I would want to jump into politics because there's so much, it's the brain, it's the heart of America. Everything's so much activity and what's going on, who's conferring with who and who's contesting who, and it's very exciting.
Well, it is the center of power.
Yeah.
I mean, there's enormous.
I can understand some people get drunk on that power
You
too.
do, yes. It's easy to get carried away with your positions.
Like McCain lately. I'm very disappointed. Yeah, I see. You have the same chagrin look on your face.
Yeah.
I'm not too pleased with McCain. Hey, shut up. I don't know how you feel.
Well, I
Dean,
saw it change.
You're probably good friends with McCain, He is a war hero, I don't like what Trump said about him, but he should just shut up right now,
I saw it change from New York being the center of power, and then I was sent as a bureau chief in Washington, D.C., and it was a sleepy town back then. In the 60s, it was a sleepy town. And I mean, I had to wait for my coffee. It would take 10 minutes as they would talk. Oh, how's your day? I said, I got to get back up. And today, it is a very energetic town. But back in the 60s, it was a sleepy town.
It was.
And New York was the center of our universe. Today, it is Washington.
Yeah. And you were talking about Boston. Now, I went to Boston, as I remember, a couple of years ago after that movie, and I'd take the what's that walk you take, the Freedom Walk. Anyway, Boston is a much nicer town. It's so clean, and they took that whole area that's a big park, and that used to be the big highways, and they put the highways underground, and it's just really everything's more accessible. I'm talking about the area over by who's the guy that rode in the night?
Paul Revere.
Yeah,
Paul
Paul
Revere.
Revere's house. You know the section of town I'm talking about? That's such a nice area.
Around the
over
church.
The old
church.
sections have come back.
there. Yeah. Now, so as a dean, I wanted to ask you this. So, like if you said, Rhett, you can't do radio anymore, you get to pick to do one thing. And I hate long, cold winters, but I would put up with the winters to put up with this. I'd love to be on a campus somewhere. Because I believe in this with the quantum leap. Do you believe, like I used to go out here to where the Dodgers used to play, and in spring training, and Tommy Lasorda was, I did multiple interviews, I got to know him well, I had lunch with him. You could smell the fragrance of the fresh cut grass and dreams in the air. These guys were disciplining their bodies, professional athletes. Yeah, this isn't some light little thing where you go out to hit a ball at night after work. These, and the dreams were in the air. Well, when you go to a campus, that's why I like to go to the coffee houses. Can't you feel that intellectual energy?
Oh, absolutely. And, the faculty also go out for beers on Friday, right? And chat about not just the weather, but they talk about their disciplines. And I regularly went to those things, not for the beer, of course, but for the conversation.
You're not going to get that on the air, huh?
But there were economists, people in management, people from sociology, and so forth, who would come and talk about these things, and the debates would be nicely heated.
Yeah.
Okay.
The interesting
Respectfully
thing about
heated.
the CIA, though, the analysts are like that. I mean, is that not true, Dick? You get these brilliant people, PhDs in the CIA, and you're around the same kind of environment.
Well,
isn't it?
it's always ferment and debate and disagreement.
Which is
Arguing.
good.
Everybody's got a different view.
A newscaster said just last night, well, it's healthy to have a lot of noise. Did I read it or did I see it? I thought I saw it in the news last night. We said it's healthy to have debate and contest within the halls of the White House.
How you learn
Right.
by listening I don't know about you, but I learn also by stating my own views and having them tested,
Yeah.
and then having someone say, well, I don't agree with that, and then you incorporate a little bit of what they
Yes.
said back into your
The
own argument.
proverbial spring never goes back all the way.
Yeah.
Stretch it out. And those, unlike Hannity, who keeps interrupting the liberals. I want to hear from the liberals.
Let me ask Bob a question, if I
Yes,
can.
sir.
When you teach business, I've been on some boards and know some CEOs and people in companies. My question is, how much of that is learned academically, and how much of that do you think is based on just practical experience of doing it? Or does it, and it just seems to me that business is difficult. There are some techniques you can teach, but unlike history where you're learning facts or physics where you're learning formulas, what are you teaching someone in business that they can't learn practically by doing it?
No, I understand your question, and I think it's a very fundamental question. In fact, that's what we debate as academics. You know, is what's the best way to teach? Harvard became famous for the MBA program because they used hundreds of true case studies.
Right.
I developed case studies from banks. Actually, went in the banks, went through their files, wrote up.
So you look at failure and
you
success.
look at failures, and you put these things out for the crucible, you know, to figure out what is good, what is not good. Then the other part of it, which is really important, is academic research that's published, and that's where the principles come from that are taught in the universities.
Well, there's perception, and then there's conception. And I think what I got an MBA, and the conception is what you're teaching.
Okay, we got to take a break. We'll come back with Dean Bob Edmister from what school?
Bowling Green State University.
Wonderful. And also Dick Kerr, former Deputy Director of the CIA, and of course White House correspondent Stanford Erickson. Who am I? I'm Rhett Palmer. We'll be right back.
That's good. We have to get back to his song, you know.
We do, yes. That'll be the next.
I saw you trying to wind it up, so I tried
Yes,
to.
thank you.
And
Yeah. Well, all of a sudden I forgot. We got someone pulled in here. I forgot.
Well, it's always a
it's
question I'm
interesting. It's
interested
this
in.
is
You know,
interesting.
Yeah.
oh yeah. And
is
believe me,
great.
there's a lot of debate about that.
About what? They will repeat something with the same flavor, but it's like you tell me, "Oh, I was in this."
Something that you're smoking and whatever.
but you know, it's interesting because I think I learned my craft.
It's blinking green now. Went to red, and now it's blinking green. So when you get a chance, if you could just come in here and, you know, once we get the show going, put us back on Facebook.
Or the State Department. I'd interview people. They always give me. I love couplings, so they do that.
All night, all day, Marianne. Dun, dun, dun,
We have to get
dun, Marianne, simply saying.
call your friend Ann. It'd be nice to call her so she could hear it.
Yeah, let's call Ann.
I don't think I have her.
Oh, by the way, she called me. After she called you, she called me.
Did you really?
And
Oh,
she-
really?
well, yeah, and she started crying.
That's it.
We're just Americans.